Keep digging, Joe. You're getting there.
It has this kind of, and listen, it's not just the vaccines, and I never have said that. If our children are swimming around in a toxic soup, what we can say is most of it started in 1989, and there's a finite number of culprits that you can point to and say, it has to come from a toxic exposure, because genes don't cause epidemics. They can provide a vulnerability, but you need a toxic exposure. What is it? Is it, it could be glyphosate, it could be neonicotinoid pesticides, it could be PFOAs, which are the flame retardants that became ubiquitous, around that same timeline. It could be cell phones.
Ding, 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 ding.
On Wi-Fi, radiation. So there's
that's unlikely.
What?
Isn't that very unlikely?
It could be ultrasound. Yeah, of course. Well, I think the Wi-Fi radiation is a lot worse than people think it is, but I don't think.
How so?
Well, Wi-Fi radiation does all kinds of bad things, including causing cancer.
Wi-Fi radiation causes cancer?
From your cell phone. I mean, there's cell phone tumors. I'm representing hundreds of people who have cell phone tumors behind the ear. It's always on the ear that you favor with your cell phone. We have the science. So if anybody lets us in front of a jury, it will be over.
So what is the number? Because a lot of people use
there's a lot of people with it. They're glioblastomas. That's the kind of cancers that they get. But cancer's not the worst thing. They also, it opens up. Wi-Fi radiation opens up your blood-brain barrier. And so all these toxins that are in your body can now go into your brain.
How does Wi-Fi radiation open up your blood-brain barrier?
Yeah, now you're going beyond my expertise. But what there are. I'm going to use a number here, and you're going to think it's hyperbole, but it's not. There are tens of thousands of studies that show the horrendous danger of Wi-Fi radiation. And
this is Wi-Fi that's in this room.
Yeah, it's Wi-Fi
routers.
You should not be asleep, and you should not let your kids carry their cell phones on their breast, particularly a woman, because they're associated with breast. They shouldn't be holding them in the breast pocket. If you have to, put them in your butt pocket. You should not be having them near your head when you're sleeping. You need to get away, and you should never put one next to your head. You should always. I will never put this next to my head. I put it on I put it on a speakerphone or use earphones. But I won the case on this issue, suing FCC and FDA about it. And the court sided with me. So now they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and do it. But the Russians know more about Wi-Fi radiation than anybody. They developed it as a weapon, and a lot of the really good science came out of Russia. And the Russians won't let kids use cell phones in kindergarten or in grade school. A lot of the schools in Russia don't let cell phones in there because of the danger. And the levels of radiation that they allow from cell phones is like 1/100th of what, and I don't know exactly what it is. So that's a number people shouldn't hold me to, but it is a tiny fraction of what we allow in this country.
So the Wi-Fi radiation is obviously different than cell phone radiation.
Not really.
So you're talking about people that are just in a room with Wi-Fi are being exposed to something that's dangerous?
People have different sensitivities to it. So some people are extremely sensitive. They become completely debilitated from it. And
really?
We have
from
a woman.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we have a woman who developed an allergy to Wi-Fi. She was in the Israeli Defense Forces, and she was in their cyber warfare unit. So she was in a room with it all the time, and suddenly she developed and she's a brilliant lawyer, and she's one of the leaders of in this movement to make sure that they don't put Wi-Fi antennas on elementary schools, which they're doing now. There's no control over where people put these antennas, and And
So what do you think Wi-Fi is doing to us, since it's everywhere and since everyone's experiencing, including you? What do you think it's doing to us?
I think it degrades your mitochondria. And it opens your blood-brain barrier.
Do you see anything online how it could open up your blood-brain barrier?
I don't know about how, but
That it does?
I found an article. I was trying to find the validity of it, but it has a statement on here.
Damage to the blood-brain barrier. Radio frequency radiation exposure has been shown to affect the permeability of the blood-brain barrier, as well as altering the expression of microRNA within the brain, which researchers state could lead to adverse effects such as neurodegenerative disease. Whoa. How come we don't know that?
There's a doctor that did a study and said that it's been expanded on researchers in China, and there's
practice is the treatment of autistic children. And we realized very quickly when we did this that there's two kinds of autistic kids, the ones that recover and the ones that don't recover. And the ones that recover are the ones that follow exactly this set of instructions. It is hardly done with the vitamins and with the other things that we do, with the behavioral therapies. They have a minor effect on it. The moment we protect the sleeping location of the child, the autistic children are recovering. Now, I can say that with great levels of certainty now for two reasons. One, because I have a large group of people that follow my teaching in Europe, and the Europeans, when they hear that, they get the idea and run with it. In America, unfortunately, especially the husbands have become a huge obstacle to this. Most American men never had more than 1 year of physics in school and simply do not have the understanding, but they have strong opinions without ever having understood physics. They have strong opinions about it, that this possibly cannot be true, because if it would be true and dangerous, the government would have done something. Well, you make your own opinion after watching this film. So what we did then is a study where we took 10 autistic children and went back to the sleeping location where the mother was when she was pregnant with that child, and compared it with the sleeping location of a mother that gave birth to healthy children. We had 10 mothers in that group, 10 mothers in this group, and in the group of the autistic children, we found that the measurements that we got for the microwave exposure in the sleeping location of where the mother was when she was pregnant with her child was elevated compared to the group of children that were normal. The same measurement we got by measuring body voltage. This is the exposure just to the ambient field, electric field in the home created by the electric wires in the wall. Found the same number, that the exposure, that the electric charge that is built up in the body was by the factor of 10 times more in the sleeping location where the mother was sleeping when she was pregnant with her child. And with that, the exposure to man-made electromagnetic fields has become the first factor that could be isolated ever in autism that could predict autism. I can go to the home of a pregnant mother now, take those measurements, and give her a reasonable assessment what her chances are to give birth to a child that will later be diagnosed as autistic. Now, as you can imagine, I was not able to publish the study. Nobody was interested. It was 10 children was too small a group to say something, even though the differences are so dramatic that even the 10 children led to a huge statistical difference. But I wasn't able to publish it because of the special interests that are now have found their way into the medical journals and the peer-reviewed journals. I think it's important to say that now the communications industry has become the largest lobbying industry in politics, larger than big pharma. In fact, by a factor of 3 times more powerful than the pharmaceutical industry, which used to be the most powerful arm, bending the decisions in Washington and in all Western governments for that purpose.